Hi everyone, and a warm welcome to all of Nadiya Shah's fabulous fans, friends, and superstars. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Zan and I specialize in astrology and tarot. And this is a very special recording that I have decided to do for the world's most amazing and fabulous astrologer, Nadiya Shah's channel, who is my personal light of inspiration, my personal divine muse who always fills me with hope, with inspiration, and her astrological interpretations simply blow my mind because there is no limit to the depth that Nadiya Shah can analyze and look into any aspect. So first of all, I would like to thank Nadiya from the depth of my soul for giving me this wonderful opportunity to appear on her channel. This is without a doubt a dream come true for me. So thank you so very much, Nadiya, and thank you to you guys, her public, for listening to me. In this recording, I would like to share a couple of ideas and thoughts about this upcoming new moon taking place in the sign of Aquarius around the 11th of February 2021, after which we have a special pick a card reading taking a look at how this new moon can potentially manifest in your life. The reason why I have chosen a pick a card reading out of every possible combination is because, in my personal opinion, I actually believe that a pick a card is almost like a bridge between one's higher self, but also one's human persona. Because even though the channeling and the interpretation source through me and my voice, it is still you guys who have to choose. So basically, it is your higher self through your intuition who delivers you this message, this guidance, or potentially a glimpse into the future. And this goes so very well, not just with the energy of Aquarius, but also this very special new moon which happens in exactly that part of the sky. And also, since every pick a card reading has a touch of chaos to it, because basically your gut is gonna tell you which pile to choose or what resonates with you. It is a very Uranian expression of divination. And Uranus is the modern ruler of the sign of Aquarius. You might be wondering, what is all this emphasis and almost hysteria from an astrological perspective about Aquarius? You might notice that every single astrologer in this present moment is talking non-stop about Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, the future, the next, the new. Well, on one hand, all of that has to do with the basic symbolism of the sign of Aquarius. On the other hand, just very, very recently, on the 21st of December 2020, we had a super powerful great conjunction in 0 degrees of Aquarius. So that basically opened up the next 20-year cycle, which has the main theme of Aquarius. So innovation, the future, individuality, equity, equality, humanitarianism, new technologies, groundbreaking scientific advancements, which will represent a quantum leap without a shadow of a doubt. But as I said, this is a 20-year-old cycle, so we still have a lot of time in order to embody all of that. But at the same time, there is a lot of energy in the sign of Aquarius right now, as we speak, and that will get that much more tumultuous as we get to the 11th of February, the day of the new moon in the sign of Aquarius, because at this time we're going to be having the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and also 2 other minor astrological influences in this part of the sky. So we're talking about Pallas Athena and Astrocharaclo, Cheroklo, which is the female Chiron. So if Chiron is important and relevant in astrology, then so is his wife, because in mythology, Cheroklo was the wife of Chiron, who saw him through in the hardest moments of his existence. So this means that we have a stellium, so at that moment, the sign of Aquarius basically dominates the sky, it dominates our psyches, it dominates every single energy in our lives. Yes, of course there are other planets and other signs out there, but when we have such a high concentrated energy in one part of the sky, well, regardless of the other energies, this one is the most dominant influence. So basically, everything is about our future, everything is about stepping into our futures, creating future plans, embodying our distinctiveness, our uniqueness, everything that makes us special, everything that makes us stand out. And this is also a very multi-dimensional energy, because it is all about physical reality, everything that we can possibly achieve. Saturn is down to earth things. Saturn is real life. But there is also Jupiter. Jupiter is all about the highest philosophies, principles, faith, our inner truth. Venus is all about our worth, our value systems, everything that we love and are passionate about. There is Mercury retrograde especially, so the mind. And since it's retrograde, it is the mind trying to perfect itself, rediscover itself, realign itself. And then, needless to say, we have the union, the conjunction of the sun and moon. And in alchemy, whenever the sun and moon meet and join as one, so a divine union, well, that is the birth of wisdom. It is the philosopher's stone. So basically, because we have so very many different type of planets here in the same spot, that means that it's going to affect us in a very significant way. And as I said, this is all about our futures, individually and collectively alike. This is also about everything that we love and everything that we wish to have in our lives to sustain that loveliness. This is also about our way of thinking, our mentality, where under this Mercury retrograde, we are actually perfecting it. We are eliminating defeating thought patterns, bad attitudes, that which don't serve us, but quite the contrary, they defeat us. And we try to align with the very, very best, healthiest, and most optimistic, because of the Jupiter, of course, way of thinking, that which can actually propulse us forward regardless of the limitations, Saturn. And there is a conversation of tension that the sun and moon are going to be holding with another important personal power player, which is Mars at 18 degrees of the sign of Taurus. And Mars is the activator, Mars is our willpower, Mars is our sovereignty. And it's also a very karmic planet, because whatever it touches, it activates that karmic energy. So Mars is very, very involved with any kind of manifestation. Now, it is absolutely true that a conversation of tension involves stress, it involves restlessness, urgency, maybe a little bit of anxiety, but none of these expressions are actually negative, because in this astrological configuration, Mars just motivates us. Mars gives us the determination, the self-worth, especially in the sign of Taurus. Well, it is very simple. If we believe in our value, if we believe in our potential value-wise, regardless if we are talking about material, social, professional, emotional or spiritual, well, it is still value as in the sign of Taurus, and we are willing to fight for it, we are willing to take action, we are willing to actually express our courage and everything that is alive in our hearts. And also, another way I see this Mars squaring the sun and moon in the sign of Aquarius, there comes a time in life when, like it or not, the truth within our hearts and heart spaces, so our most sacred desires and passions, have to be aligned with our thoughts, with our way of thinking, with the creativity and creative force of our intellect, and even the higher mind, even that which is not really 100% under our own control. And when such an alignment happens, and don't get me wrong, this is exactly why it's a square, because it's not easy, it's not just we will it and it happens. We have to negotiate with ourselves, we have to reason and rationalize with ourselves, but we also have to be our own personal psychologists or counselors, because understanding what the heart authentically desires, that is the core, that is the essence of everything. And I do believe that this is exactly what we're achieving around this time. And why is it so important? Well, because every single new moon is a new beginning, regardless of how we look at it. Astrologically, where the sun and moon, the darkness of the moon just acts as a sponge, absorbing our focus, our energies, our thoughts, our desires, our wills. Exactly, the sun and moon squaring Mars is a perfect example for this. Or we can look at this more spiritually and philosophically, where the sun is the light of creation, it is the divine, and the moon is the soul, the feminine. And when the two meet in the sky, so they form an union, a holy matrimony, so to speak, well, naturally that creates something new, something wonderful, something that has to delight our lives and also offer us the way to navigate towards our hopes and dreams, Aquarius. So at the time of this new moon, it is really, really advised to set new seeds of intention, to come up with new desires, to focus on all those things that you want to attract into your life. And especially if those are like new projects, a new job, new lifestyle, new friends, new acquaintances, all of these are very, very ideal. But even if you just want something new in your life and might not really have a determined image of what that is, simply open up yourself to new, open up yourself that the universe can surprise and delight you, because it will definitely bring something on a silver tray, like an opportunity, a chance, a possibility, and then you can just analyze it and work with it. You don't have to necessarily accept it, but just take it into consideration. And of course, we have to know that the sphere of influence of any new moon is a week before it takes place and 6 months after. Since this takes place in a part of the sky where its energies are very, very quick, almost instant, almost quantum, well, we can expect that this manifestation can happen as soon as possible, because energies at this time travel with the speed of thought, let's say, so even greater than the speed of light. But if all of this wasn't enough, this new moon and other relevant players in the sign of Aquarius hold conversations of harmony with two very, very important mystical, magical, and almost divine astrological energies. Well, the sun and the moon, so the conjunction of the sun and moon, the new moon, is holding a sextile with the galactic center in Sagittarius, while Venus, Mercury, and Jupiter are holding the same time of conversation, a sextile, with the great attractor, also in Sagittarius. Now, why is this important? Well, first of all, the galactic center is, from an astronomical perspective, the black hole at the center of the Milky Way. So that is very obvious. You don't have to be an astrologer to figure out that it is infinite creational energy. It is basically the gravity of our local reality. It is what keeps everything in our galaxy together. It is basically the greatest expression of divine timing, of karma, of fated events, but also the unknown and unexpected. It is simply the divine in all of its mystery, in all of its unknown nature, and its closest manifestation in physical reality. So basically the super massive black hole at the center of our galaxy, our solar system, and every single star system in the galaxy revolves around it. And when any planet or any astrological symbol speaks in a positive conversation with the galactic center, well, that is creation. That is divine infusion. That is a powerful opening to alignment, divine alignment. So the way I interpret it, well, it's almost like if the sun and moon are a new beginning, it is like a gift from the highest divine forces for us to choose freely, unconditionally, what kind of new beginning we would like to experience next. This is where the divine intelligence gives us a key, and we can use that key to open the gates to our futures. And this isn't the immediate future, because Aquarius is the long-term future. So something that has to serve us long-term, even our retirement days, because that is also a symbol of Aquarius. Now the other sextile has to do with the Great Attractor. The Great Attractor also exists in astronomy, and it is a really, really mysterious spatial anomaly which is so very strong that it twists galactic clusters. It reshapes galaxies. Now in cosmology and astronomy, there are so very many different theories to what it can be. Some say that it is a wormhole. Others say that it is an even bigger black hole than our own galactic center. Others say that it might be a graveyard galaxy where the black hole just swallowed up everything. While other scientists just admit that we don't have the technology yet to decipher what exactly it is, how it functions, and why. But in astrology, we associate it with raw, unrefined creational energy. It is basically like a portal to the divine's own very creative expression, if we can call it that way. So basically, whenever a planet converses with the Great Attractor, it simply receives that mysterious, highest level divine creational energy. And you know, when that planet or whatever other astrological influence receives this kind of power, that is when things take a totally different turn. Because this Great Attractor quantum leaps the symbolism of that other planet, so it ends up very, very quickly in its future expression, ready or not, like it or not, wish it or not. But since it is a sextile, a harmonious celestial conversation, well, it is for our greatest good. It is something really, really positive. And also, it goes hand in hand with the big symbolism of Aquarius, which is actually quantum leaping into our futures. That is why it is packed with planets. It is packed with energy. The future is here, and all of us are jumping in it in an instant. So this will be a very, very ideal opportunity. Just sit down with yourself and focus on what is it that you wish to have in your life in the future. It doesn't matter if it's meditation or any kind of other practice, even if it's just writing down ideas in a notebook or going jogging and just being with your thoughts, speaking to yourself, listening to your inner voice, or if it's any kind of guided meditation. And in this case, I can suggest all of our listeners Nadiya Shah's The Body and the Cosmos, which has guided meditations for all of the 12 signs, and it is one of her most brilliant, ingenious, amazing and magical works. I highly recommend it to everyone because it can just connect you with yourself in the most miraculous ways possible. And I do speak from personal experience. Now for the second part of this recording, please join me in this pick a card reading with the subject, how is this Aquarius new moon going to influence my life? The instructions are quite simple. Just find a peaceful spot where you can just relax, be with yourself, take a couple of deep breaths and just disconnect from everything. And when you feel that you're ready, look at the 5 piles of cards for a couple of seconds, or take as much time as you need, and then just choose a pile, or perhaps more, which sparks up your intuitive senses the most. After the pile that you have chosen is locked in, so to speak, internally, you can go straight to the interpretation of your pile. You can find the timestamps for the pile or piles chosen by you either in the description of this video or in the comments below. For those of you who have chosen the first pile, your cards are the 5 of Cups reversed, the 7 of Wands, and the 2 of Wands. Now remember at the astrological part of this recording where I said that Aquarius is all about us being able to navigate in a quantum reality where things might not really be linear anymore. And that is exactly what you guys are going to be experiencing, but it's not as simple, as straightforward as this, because it is built on the past, and that is the main symbol of this 5 of Cups reversed. It is your past. Now this tells us that you are an incredibly ingenious person. You are so creative, inventive. And this was something typical to who it is that you are ever since you were a child. For example, even when simply playing on a playground, playing with other children or in a group or at school, you were always the brains behind the operation. When someone was out of ideas, inspiration, didn't know what to do, well, you were that person who inspired them. You were that person who came up with the most ingenious plan. And of course, this quality of yours persisted all throughout your life. But when you started to step into adulthood, well, that is where things didn't go that very well. Because the 5 of Cups on its own, well, it's not a very positive card because it speaks about disappointment. It speaks about when whatever it is that you have done or the outcome of things, for example, projects, goals, ambitions, work, a relationship, a friendship, an alliance, etc. Well, it always disappointed you one way or another. So even though you were born with an amazing intellectual potential, your mind is almost like a quantum computer. Yes, it's a little bit hyperactive, but it is full of ingenious ideas. It is full of creative chaos, so to speak. You definitely embody the archetype of Aquarius, regardless of your sun sign. You're that very, very clever. You're that ingenious. But also you're just like a big child, because without that certain kind of innocence and naivety, you cannot dream the wildest dreams into existence. But of course, dreaming it, fantasizing it, or even planning it is one thing, but executing it, as in manifesting it, working with it, creating it in physical reality, is a totally other thing. And that is the disappointment factor, because very many times your plan, your mental vision didn't really match the outcome, so you had a lot of disappointments in your life. Some of those disappointments were actually due to your unrealistic expectations, but others, especially with friendships, with alliances, with partnerships, even love, well, those were due to the fact that the people who you partnered with were totally below your standards, but because you're such a moral person, you were blind to it. You had no idea that those people who you allowed into your personal sphere or to partner up with you were way below you. And naturally, this has disappointment written all over it. And because of these so very many disappointments, as I said, in every area of your life, it kind of became an unconscious programming already, where your thoughts are already full of fear of disappointment. So everything new that comes in your life, or every time you have a new plan, that eureka moment, an epiphany, a bright idea, a solution, something ingenious, well, you're not overjoyed already, because it is exactly this shadow lurking in your mind has taught you to be and expect disappointment. And this was a major blockage in your life for so very many years. And ironically, you know that 7 of Wands is there. So that means that your rationality, that your mind actually defended the shadow. It defended you expecting disappointment because you thought that is the rational thing. That is the normal way to go about things. But fortunately, in this present moment, that 5 of Cups is reversed, which means that karma or your destiny or the divine taught you in a very severe, maybe even painful manner, never ever to have expectations, not to have attachments, and dare and have faith to trust the ingenuity of your mind, of your feelings, of your own being, because there is absolutely nothing wrong with who you are. You are a blessing. Inside of you, you do carry an alchemical gold, because you're that future oriented, you're that visionary, you're that innocent and playful. So if the hand of fate, if karma, if the divinely orchestrated energies, especially in the year 2020, 2019, 2018, taught you anything, well, they taught you that it's absolutely okay being who you are. If you wanna dream, dream. Just select the partners and the people who you share your dreams, ideas, etc. with. Because if they're a rigid, unimaginative person, if they are like an inner adult all the time, well, they can never ever be true playmates to your inner child. And this was the biggest lesson. And this was the root, the core of your most hard to overcome inner blockages and limitations. So you lived in an illusion so very many times in your life that you disappoint yourself, that you're not good enough, that you're too naive, that you have to live in reality. And that was the dark inner voice, that was the shadow, one way or another trying to protect you from disappointment. But the time for that is over. Now your inner voice is telling you, dream, believe in yourself, dare to express your creativity, your ingenuity, dare to be proud of who you are. And if sometimes that is childish, that is playful, that is a little bit unrealistic, well, that much better, because with your playful vibes, you are making this world a much, much nicer and happier place. And basically, this is what turned that Five of Cups around. So now you are in a position of power. Internally speaking, you trust yourself, you love yourself, you accept yourself, and it is actually others who you are more careful about. You have learned the lesson to say no and simply not to allow just anyone into your life. This is where right now the Seven of Wands is your own personal filter. You are defending the sanctity of your soul, of your heart, your social sphere, and who you are sharing your energy, your thoughts, and yourself with. And because you have defended yourself from a lot of toxic people, or even totally harmless people, but who are simply not on your level, this is when your life is totally turning around. And that is the symbolism of this Two of Wands. If history, the past, showed you a lot of disappointment, a lot of times when your ideas, plans, wishes, goals, dreams, etc. turned out in not a very favorable way, this is when you get the chance to live the opposite of that, but for the long-term future. That part of your life when reality doesn't meet your expectations is finally over, and a new adventure begins from now on. And basically this is what this new moon is going to conjure up in your life. It's not anything palpable, it's not a new beginning that is already predestined. It is simply a new reality, a new dimension, a new way reality operates for you personally. So what the Two of Wands tell us, whatever it is that you desire, whatever it is that you want, what you believe in, what you feel ambitious towards, go out there, do it, and achieve success. So if until this present moment so very many things disappointed you, expect the opposite. When even the smallest gestures, as long as you express yourself, as long as you have courage and faith in yourself, are definitely gonna be successful. And since you know not to have sky-high expectations and not to look at everything from a strict material perspective, that is also one of the keys to your success and actually achieving everything that you desire in your life. Because your desires, the desires of the person who you are right now, are so very different than your old self. Emotionally and spiritually and mentally, you are in the best possible place. So the time has come for you to receive the rewards for doing things, making choices, decisions, and even contemplating from the best possible place. The place of maturity, wisdom, but also the innocence of the inner child. So what these cards are telling you is simply embrace whatever your heart tells you to do, because that is what you're gonna have in your future. For those of you who have chosen the second pile, your cards are the Two of Swords reversed, Three of Cups, and Eight of Wands. The first card, the Two of Swords reversed, speaks about the past, where the last couple of years, so maybe 2019, 2020, or for some people 2018, 2019, you had a lot of restlessness. It was like your soul was on fire and you had no idea what is causing this state of readiness, the state of anxiety, the restlessness, sleeplessness, stress. So basically your life was a living nightmare because your mind was simply out of control. It was almost like your mind, your thoughts, every conscious moment was just fighting you. It was making you so very uncomfortable. You didn't understand yourself. You didn't know what was going on with you. And naturally, all your relationships started terminating, ending, or taking a turn where you really didn't want to be there in it anymore. The Two of Swords reversed also represents certain legal issues that you might have had, perhaps with contracts or with a mortgage, with an agreement of some kind, for some people even divorce or a very painful separation. But the thing is, the legal part was more painful than the emotional one, because the emotional one didn't really come as a surprise. It took you a lot of courage and a lot of determination, fighting your own guilt, to actually make this step forward and to separate. And also, you might have had moments these last couple of years when you felt so very, very alone in your life, almost like absolutely everyone has abandoned you, and not to mention that you just couldn't figure out life. You didn't see the higher meaning. You didn't see where all of this was leading you. You thought, there were times when you actually thought that this was the end, that your life is gonna crash, that from now on a living, never-ending nightmare starts and you're just gonna sink and sink and sink. And perhaps the worst part is that you really didn't understand yourself. You didn't understand your feelings, your thoughts, and perhaps the truth within your heart were fighting each other. They were at war, and you might have also experienced physical illness, stress-related problems, palpitations, or maybe severe weight loss or digestive problems. So it was a really, really tough period in your life when you really thought you were gonna go crazy. But since this Two of Swords is reversed, that is the most wonderful news, because you have done all the inner work. You have endured everything that your mental sphere could throw at you. You endured the separations, the losses, and actually you embraced solitude as independence. You finally realized that what you have been searching for all along was you. It was your own friendship, your own love, your own support. You realized that why all of this has happened is for the universe to show you that life really, really, really doesn't depend on others, the choices of others, the problems and needs of others, but it only and only depends on you, what you want to do, what you are thinking, what you need in the present moment, and not what external reality wants to stuff down your throat, so to speak. So this disconnection from society, from certain circles, from certain friends, from people, even work environment, was a massive blessing in disguise. And it took you a lot of time to realize this, but now you know, and you are so very, very grateful. And what comes next in your life? Well, even though you found yourself, you found your support, self-love, self-care, self-nurture, self-esteem, self-worth, call it whatever you want, you are still missing the material, the physical expression, reflection of that. In other words, well, you still need to belong somewhere. You still need some kind of connections. You still need to find souls who are just like you, who resonate with the things that you resonate with, and who are as loving and as gentle as you are. And that is exactly the next step, which begins after this new moon takes place in Aquarius. But as I said, a sphere of manifestation of a new moon is a week before and 6 months after, so anywhere between that time. And the Eight of Wands, which is the astrological correspondent of Mercury and Sagittarius, these new connections are going to enter into your life as a lightning bolt. You will not even know what hit you. It will happen in a flash, in an instant. And also, some of those people, or maybe it's a group of people, do live in a different place in the world, maybe abroad, in a different nation, different country, or far away from you. So this meeting, this union, this connection will also open gates to travels, seeing the world, maybe them coming to visit you and then you going to return the favor and visiting them. Or as a group, it can also signify that you are going to visit different places in the world together. But for other people, this can also represent the beginning of new studies, new specialization, where you will have to occupy a specific role within that group, and they will help you learn new things, advance with your studies, with your knowledge, with your know-how. And at the same time, all of this is also a philosophical upgrade, in the sense that it will truly open your eyes to a reality which until that moment was simply hidden from you, or you didn't belong to it. For others still, this can be quite radical, in the sense that maybe you are going to leave your old lifestyle behind and be part of a nature-oriented community. You might even relocate, you might even leave your current home, your current place, and embrace something totally new, which will simply open up a totally new dimension for you. But it's not really what happens physically that matters. What actually matters is that you will find people who are just like you, so your loneliness is going to end there, and the fact that you will belong to a group or a place, or it doesn't really matter what it is, the sense of belonging is going to be fulfilled, and that will make your life so very, very happy, safe and secure, emotionally, psychologically, and of course even materially, that looking back in a few years to whatever happened this year, it's gonna feel like a miracle truly changed your life. For those of you who have chosen the third pile, your cards are the Devil reversed, Eight of Swords reversed, and the Lovers reversed. Now for you guys, what this new moon is going to create in your life is very direct, but the way it is going to happen, now that is still under the shroud of mystery, because all of these cards in reverse position speak about one big theme, and that is freedom, especially emotional and mental freedom. The Devil reversed is basically a higher octave of the Lovers card, so this represents partnerships and people who you share your life with. It doesn't really mean acquaintances and for example, the general nuance of Aquarius. These are very, very personal connections. And the Devil also signifies that many relations are karmic in nature, so they're fated connections. Now, first of all, you have always been someone who held freedom as the most supreme, superior, the greatest value in life, in existence. So I think that it is no surprise that freedom is the biggest thing that you were looking for all of your life, but the only thing that you couldn't have. So the one thing that you were looking for was the one thing you couldn't find. And that is so very ironic, because, you were the type of person who actually has done everything correctly. The Devil reverse suggests that you were never really a slave to your mind, a slave to a mentality, a slave to the thoughts and customs, traditions, social norms, everything coming from other people. It doesn't mean that you didn't comply, but, inside of yourself, in your mind, you knew the fakeness, you knew that what resonated, you knew that which didn't, so everything was a big compromise. You were never, for one moment, enslaved in its true sense, because it was always a necessity, a compromise, but that didn't mean that you wanted it, that didn't mean that you believed in it. You still wanted freedom, and you still, within your mind, you were definitely your own ruler, and you didn't accept those thoughts, modus operandi, rules, or whatever it is which you didn't resonate with. But that doesn't mean that you didn't make compromises at certain points in your life, because, basically you had no choice. But emotionally, it might be a little bit different, and that is because you are a very, very loving person. You are extremely passionate. You have that Plutonian kind of singularity within you. Maybe you're one of those people who were born with having their natal Pluto in the sign of Scorpio, as in the 80s and 90s, if I'm not mistaken. So, even though emotional freedom was important for you all the time, but there were times when you actually compromised a lot, swallowed your hurts, your pains, your opinions, your wills, your wants, your needs, in order to nurture another person. It doesn't really matter the type of the relationship. It can be romantic, but it can also be very, very close friends or karmic relationships. And some of them didn't go too well because you might have ended up being used, being abused, not valued, not taken seriously, or in other cases, sometimes you were way too intense, way too much, way too smart, way too emotionally intelligent for the other person, and it had to end. And that really, really left you with a bitter taste. The biggest problem sometimes is people having a big ego. And I don't think I need to say the story further because everyone knows. But you're actually those rare type of people whose ego has been broken, almost shattered to dust. Exactly for the reason because you always thought that either you're too little or way too much, and you had to protect other people from you, from yourself, from your soul, so to speak. So you always wore a mask of some sorts. You always camouflaged yourself. You never dared to show how loving, how true, how brave, how honest you are emotionally. And as you went through life, this built up and built up and built up, and you lost who you are in the illusion, in the self-created illusion, in the mask. And a time came, I do believe that we're also talking about the year either 2018, 2019, 2020, when this just exploded from within you. Your soul said, enough is enough. Listen, I know who I am, and the mask is gonna be taken off right now. And for the first time, the universe actually placed a mirror in front of you, showing you just how loving you are, and it is very unfair to hide that kind of love. You have absolutely no idea how beautiful you are from the inside. Your dreams, your innocence, even your naivety, your Gemini type of lightheartedness, being like an eternal adolescence, makes you such a wonderful, magnetic, cheerful, inspirational person, and you may not hide who you truly are anymore. So karmic events did happen in order for your mask to fall off, no matter how much attached you were to that self-created mask. The universe took it off and burnt it. So you cannot simply hide anymore. And this is where your true freedom began. And it all starts with the inner world, with the self. Right now, you couldn't be more proud of your honesty, of your authenticity, for living life from within your heart, doing what feels right, doing what feels natural, and making choices out of your heart space, even though sometimes in life those choices are quite irrational or go against rationality. But if that is what makes you happy, that is what makes your heart be at peace, you learned that this is the only path towards equilibrium and just being yourself. And another very important lesson is saying no and expressing how you truly feel, and everyone having to respect that, like it or not. It's not like you're a warrior and you fight for your opinion or whatever. Not at all. You have learned true wisdom. You express your truth, like it or not. If they don't like it, you just turn away and are so very, very happy in your own little world. And your heart is perfectly at peace. And there are no more second thoughts where, well, did I hurt this person? What do they think about me? What do they think about the fact that I have a different... No. This is where if they don't like it, they will simply cease to exist for you. And that is the path forward. Yet still, we haven't answered the question what this new moon may conjure up in your life. Well, there are two possible versions to this, reflected by the lovers reversed. If you're alone and single, even if you're not looking for love, romance, partnership of any kind, even if you want to stay single, you might come across in a very surprising, awkward, or maybe coincidental manner to a person who is just like you, but it's also almost like your opposite in the sense that they're so very chaotic, they're so very random, they're so very spontaneous. It's almost like they are a living expression of freedom. And by now you heard the magic word. It will be this freedom which will be the link between you two. But this is where you are like a person who likes to organize and build upon its freedom. This other person is going to be the living expression of chaos. For them, freedom means to listen 1,000,000% to the heart. But right now, if the heart wants an ice cream in the middle of the night, they go out and get it and no problem with that. And when you two are going to meet, this will create a emotional, spiritual, and every kind of spark, magnetism. The attraction will be irresistible. And your new adventure with this person will begin from that moment onwards. Because deep in your heart of hearts, ever since you were a small child, you truly fished a life of adventure with a little bit of chaos and hazard and spontaneity in it. And that is exactly what you're gonna get through this person. And the story of this person is vice versa. They were always like this, but in their past very destructive. Very, very destructive. As in freedom for them was more like anarchy. And all they desired was a person to somehow give them some kind of structure, stability, safety, a foundation for their lives. So basically you guys will manifest each other and something wonderful is being born from that moment onwards. Now for those of you who are in an established bond and the new romantic relationship is out of the question, this person is still coming, but either in the form of a best friend or maybe an associate or even a boss who will simply open up a totally new world for both of you. And this is where you will dare to execute the most unusual, the most surreal plans, perhaps business-wise, perhaps some kind of project or hobby or whatever it is. One thing is for sure, your days of boredom, stagnation are gonna be over. And also this person will appreciate you greatly because, as I said, this person is manifesting you because you're everything they need. It is like the piece in the puzzle fitting in perfectly, so it's really, really good. For those of you who have chosen the fourth pile, your cards are the Tower reversed, Nine of Coins, and Ace of Cups. Now this story might be very short and very simple and straightforward because the Tower reversed speaks about the past and a lot of things that have happened in the past. Now this can depict the year 2017 and onwards until this present moment, where some of you guys either went through a really bad divorce, other people lost a home, a house, all of their material possessions, other people's business went up in flames, other people suffered really severe health problems, ill health. Either way, the Tower depicts a massive but also karmic life crisis which shattered an old normality of yours. Back when it happened, it was doom and gloom. It was the dark night of the soul. It was depressive. It was agony. Any bad word that I can think of would be a fitting description of how you felt like back then. But the Tower is reversed, so you're already rebuilding. And most importantly, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and mentally, you are healed already. So there is no question about it. You are ready to fix your life. You understood why it happened, why it was necessary, what you had to imperatively say goodbye to, and you also know that the future that you want to experience, that you deserve, that you worked for. So at least non-physically, everything is more than okay because you're healed, you are wise, you're strong, and you have yourself. But the Tower is still there because, if all of this would be over, it would be the Star card, so the big, new, wonderful life that precedes the Tower. But it's just the Tower in the reverse position, so you're merely fixing the foundations. Everything else is still crumbled down, but the foundation is the self. The foundation is a healthy mindset. It is a heart beating with passion and love. It is self-support and being okay with who you are, not having grudges, accepting the past, not regretting anything, and just having a very spiritually wise and mature attitude about everything. So you are already embodying this. So the Nine of Pentacles is actually all the material elements that you need to embody it, to live it, to manifest it physically. In other words, the Nine of Coins depicts a version of reality where everything just supports you. You have already rebuilt your life. Money or an income or, material comfort is there in your life and it comes to you easily. Of course, not luxury and excess and money dropping out of the sky and being able to bathe in it. No, it is just what comfort, stability, a decent life means for you personally. But this Nine of Coins is still a work in progress, as in some of it is already there, but the big picture is not yet crystal clear in your mind. And this Nine of Coins is the theme of 2021. This is what you need to achieve. And the Nine of Cups energy is what you truly have to embody, because you know so very clearly that you deserve this. You deserve everything good in life, because that is what you give to others, to the world, to the self, to everything, even to the divine. And that which is within has to, at the right time, without a shadow of a doubt, manifest on the outside. So you are actually waiting for that opportunity, that chance, that solution, that offer, whatever it is, to actually step into the full expression of this Nine of Coins. So financial independence, being proud of what you are, what you have, being comfortable with your material situation, being comfortable with your body, being comfortable with your image, and of course not depending on absolutely anyone. But for some people, this is easier to obtain than for others, because some people just need a really, really good and stable source of income where not only they are appreciated by the employer or whatever it is that they might be doing, but also where they can truly give their very, very best to their work, to their passion, etc. And that is a really wonderful fulfillment. But for others, it might be a little bit more complicated, because there might be a house involved. They might need to buy a house or move from their current homes to something much more suitable, or they might have to share a house with a very, very toxic person, or they might have a lot of debt which doesn't allow them to enjoy their income. But regardless of what your situation is, it is definitely coming. It is gonna be like a Lego. One block after the other, one piece after the other, and it's not going to be slow. It was almost impossible just a couple of years looking back, where you might have been in a total quicksand, quagmire, bindweed, no way out no matter what you did. And this is where this changed already, because opportunities are already starting to appear. They're not big, they're not fantastic, but at least something is happening. But this new moon is gonna change that. So everything that you truly need, everything that is useful, everything that is practical, 9 of coins, Venus in the sign of Virgo, practicality, is gonna come in your life one after another until it becomes stable and until it becomes your inner temple, as in the kind of life where your soul just thrives. And then we also have the Ace of Cups, and this is a big, big surprise and delight from the universe. It doesn't tell us how it will manifest, but what it does tell us is happiness and bliss. So there is a mysterious part of your story, because getting your life back on track materially, that is all good. That is very, very needed. But the happiness, the bliss, something really, really miraculous happening in your life, that is a big bonus. And it is emotional in nature. So it will delight your soul in a way maybe you have never experienced such a positive feeling in your life. It can be love. It can be finding like a best friend who is going to bless your life. It can be maybe a pet, an animal. Either way, something that is going to give you so much happiness that it will just sweep you off your feet. And this Ace of Cups, that moment of happiness, whatever that is, now that's going to be like a divine medicine to heal you, to delight you, to regenerate your soul from all of the bad things that you have gone through. You know, as they have a saying, especially in my culture, the universe always repays its debt. And this is like the manifestation of that saying. Now, for those of you who have chosen the 5th and final pile, your cards are the Ace of Coins reversed, Justice, and 9 of Coins. Now, I think from all of those piles, this 5th one is the one which truly embodies the higher qualities of Aquarius, because it's a big surprise. Something is going to happen which will simply change your everyday normality. The way you're living your life right now, your routines, your everything that you do, even mentally, even emotionally, even everything that you can possibly think of, it is going to change, and naturally for the better. This Ace of Coins represents a big divine opportunity, a big chance, a dream, a goal, a big desire fulfilled, one which has to do with material things, for example, money, job, career, something that has to do with down to earth things. But it is an opportunity that either once or more times in your life, either you have missed or you gave up on. So even though it is new, karmically speaking, it is not that new, because it is something that was always destined for you, and the universe tried to guide you to it. It tried to enable it for you, but because of one reason or the other, you always missed out. Like, just let me give you an absurd example. It doesn't have to be this, just in order to understand the nature of this energy. Let's say you've been playing the lotto for a lot of years, and you know exactly that you need the money to open up a charity for doggies, let's say stray dogs, and you've been playing and playing, and there was one occasion when you said, oh, not today, I don't feel it today. And voila, if you would have played, you would have won the lottery. So that is an opportunity missed out, a chance missed out. The universe wanted to give it to you because you have been consistent all that time. But the moment when it wanted to give it to you, maybe your soul said, well, I'm not ready. I still have to experience life without this blessing. So I'll just keep it for another time, for another occasion. Because, karma will preserve it. If it's yours, it's gonna be there. And then at the other cycle, or whenever divine timing is right, or your soul says, now it is the time, the universe will just deliver it to you as if by magic. Fate, karma cannot be stopped, even if it's something impossible. If the impossible happened once, and you missed out, it will happen again. When it is fated, it is not just a one-time opportunity. It is one-time opportunity until you receive it. But of course, this can be anything. Dream job, dream house, dream rich partner, the big contract. And if you're an artist, it is like the groundbreaking masterpiece which can actually open up the doors for you. If you're a singer, this can be your hit. So basically, try to perceive this Ace of Coins reversed as something which you really, really wish, but just cannot accomplish it in a very down-to-earth human way. But the universe did inspire you, and it did guide you towards accomplishing it or getting it in the past. Now the Justice card. Well, that is also very self-explanatory. This is something that your fate, your karma, your destiny, the universe owes to you, because it is part of your journey in this existence. Now, why it was delayed, a part of it depends on you and your choices, as in a purely human way. You made not so wise choices in the past. You teamed up people who just weren't right for who it is that you were and are, of course. This can also be simply not believing enough in yourself to grab a big opportunity, especially career-wise. Maybe you thought, well, this is too big for me, or I'm not experienced enough, I'm not too young, I'm too this or that. Or other people just simply couldn't because they had to care for someone, or they had to sacrifice the opportunity for a very, very, very important reason. But regardless of how this played out in your life, there is one thing that everyone has in common. The biggest reason why this opportunity never actually landed in your hands, as in you can grab it and seize it, is because you just didn't believe passionately, intensely enough in yourself and in your life story. You had to believe that you deserve this, you are made for this, and no matter what life throws at you, you can do this. You are born for greatness, and you have everything, like absolutely everything, as in potential inside of you to, turn it into something really good, to allow the potential to reach fruition. And for others still, this Justice card can also speak about a negative education. Maybe a parent, a teacher, childhood friends talked you into not being good enough, not being the best, not being strong enough, brave enough. Or maybe you had a very bad material situation when you were younger, and that just broke your heart and confidence. Or maybe physically you are a frail person and you don't have as much physical energy as other people, and maybe that took away your confidence. But whatever it was, the Justice is in upright position. It was confronted, it was balanced. Either through self-work, either through inner journey, spirituality, or by going to a counselor, to a therapist, to a psychologist. But either way, you kind of know. You are in terms with whatever happened back then, and you're also in terms with that you are no longer that same person. So the Nine of Coins follows, and it's very simple. Justice. You will get what you need. That Ace of Coins this time falls in your palm and you won't miss it. Even if you would be inclined, let's say, to make a bad choice or shy away from it, this time is so very strongly fated. Saturn in Aquarius. Yes, it doesn't speak with the new moon directly because it's still in the first degrees of Aquarius, but it's still there, and that's what matters. And Saturn is the Lord of Karma. So one way or another, this time the universe will make sure that you'll get it, accept it, receive it, etc. So the main theme for you guys, those who chose the fifth pile, is justice. And if that justice has to take a physical form, it will 100% take a physical form. If it's money, it will take the form of money. If it's job, career, whatever it is that you truly need to be fulfilled. And the essence of this, for you to finally, first time in this existence, in this life, to feel that life can be fair, that there is justice in the world, and even more importantly, the universe is fair. Well, this concludes my interpretation of this new moon taking place in the sign of Aquarius on the 11th of February, and also the pick a card reading. I really hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it useful or at least inspirational. Thank you so much for listening, and the biggest thanks to the most beautiful and amazing astrologer alive today, Nadiya Shah, for giving me this really once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm so grateful and happy, and as I said, it's a dream come true. So please guys, follow Nadiya Shah's YouTube channel, her Instagram, and of course nadiyashah.com, where you'll find the best and most amazing, deepest spiritual horoscopes, guidances. It is pure medicine and honey for the soul. Wish everyone a very happy, blessed, and quantic new moon in Aquarius.